Welcome, and thank you for joining the virtual hymn sing-along portion of the Many Sounds of Christmas 2020. Part 1 was the concert where we sang for you. In Part 2, we need your singing participation. Accompanying the voices of the Salvatones are Daniel Brondel and Stephen Fraser playing the magnificent organs at St. Patrick's Cathedral and St. Malachy's Church, the Actors' Chapel. So sit back, or rather sit up, and sing along with us.
First on our list is the hymn that truly signals the arrival of Christmas, O Come All Ye Faithful, based on the Latin hymn Adeste Fideles. This quintessential arrangement by the late English choir director and organist David Willcocks employs four-part harmony, a soaring soprano descant, and colorful organ harmonies on the final verse. Take a deep breath and get ready to sing. The first Nowell is unique among Christmas carols in that it depicts a detailed narrative of the Nativity. In this unique arrangement, composer Paul Halley, who once served as music director at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, draws on his many influences to create a unique soundscape to tell this familiar story. We hope you love singing along to this setting as much as we do. Please join in on the refrains and on the rousing last verse.
Originally titled Three Kings of the Orient, the popular American carol We Three Kings centers around the biblical magi who visited the newborn infant sometime after the Nativity. John Henry Hopkins Jr. composed the carol for a pageant in New York City. In this performance from last year's concert at St. Malachy's Church, the Actors Chapel, listen for the presentation of gifts by Melchior, Casper, and Balthazar, and creative organ improvisations by Stephen Fraser, and be ready to chime in on the glorious refrains.
Incense to offer have I, incense tones a deity nigh, prayer and praising, amen raising, worship Him God on high.
first appearing in a hymn collection in 1739. Hark, the herald angels sing, got its spirited tune from Felix Mendelssohn. Typically a recessional hymn, this arrangement, also by David Willcocks, makes for a fitting close to our virtual sing-along. Listen for the exciting reed stops on the Kilgan pipe organ at St. Patrick's Cathedral as the herald angels sing out with us.
Thank you for joining us and lending your voices for the virtual sing-along portion of The Many Sounds of Christmas 2020. If you missed part 1, our virtual concert, it's easily findable on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. Follow and subscribe if you don't already, so you can keep up with our latest news. And if you are so moved, we'd appreciate any support you can offer to sustain programs like this and organizations like ours.
As we sign off, listen for one last hymn taken from our 2018 Many Sounds of Christmas concert at St. Malachy's Church, Joy to the World, sung by the Salvatones and accompanied by Stephen Fraser. On behalf of all the singers and the board of directors of the Salvatones, please accept our joyful wishes to all of you for a Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year.